Welcome back to the Unfiltered Political Lens podcast. We're going to get right into it as we always do. Here we go. April 20th is more than just a date on the calendar. It is a moment that continues to echo through history, marking the anniversary of a tragedy that permanently changed the way we view schools, safety, violence, in America. The Columbine High School Massacre in 1999 was not just an isolated event. It became a defining turning point that forced a nation to confront a reality it was not prepared for. Now in 2026, we are still grappling with the same questions, still searching for answers, and still trying to understand why, after decades of awareness, reform, and debate, the cycle still continues. Columbine shattered a deeply rooted sense of security, exposing vulnerabilities in places that were once considered safe havens for learning and growth. In the immediate aftermath, there was shock, grief, confusion, and desperately needed to assign meaning to something that felt incomprehensible. Over time, that shock evolved into a recognition. A recognition evolved into a pattern that has repeated itself in ways that have reshaped society's expectations and fears. As the years passed, Columbine became more than a tragedy. It became a benchmark used to measure every school shooting that followed. Each new incident reignited the same debates, the same emotions, and the same questions about prevention, responsibility, and accountability. This repetition created a sense of unresolved tensions where progress has been made in some of the areas, yet the core issue remains persistent and resistant to simple solution. However, in response to the Columbine, the legal system and law enforcement agencies underwent significant transformations. The policies changed and shifted from delayed response strategies to immediate engagement, with officers trained to confront threats as quickly as possible to minimize the casualties. Schools implemented zero tolerance policies, expanded surveillance systems, and introduced a controlled access points in an effort to create safer environments for students and staff. These changes represented a serious commitment to addressing the problems that they also revealed an important limitation within the system. Much of the legal framework remains reactive, often shaped by past tragedies rather than proactive measures designed to prevent future ones. This reactive nature creates a cycle where reforms follow laws while raising questions about whether enough is being done to intervene before violence occurs. At the same time, legislative debates around gun access, background checks, and red flag laws have continued to divide policymakers and the public. Some states have implemented stricter regulations while others have resisted such measures, leading to inconsistencies across the country. This patchwork approach complicates the efforts to evaluate effectiveness and contributes to the ongoing disagreements about the best path forward. Beyond the legal responses, the culture and societal landscape has also shifted in the years since Columbine. Early attempts to explain the tragedy often focus on singular causes such as bullying, violent media, or specific subcultures, but these explanations, they proved insufficient over time, and by 2026 it is widely understood that these incidents are the result of multiple intersecting factors that cannot be reduced to a single cause. Mental health remains a critical component as well of the conversation, but it is only one piece of a much larger and more complex puzzle. Social isolation, family instability, and exposure to trauma, economic stress, and lack of access to supportive resources all will contribute to the conditions that can lead to violence. These factors often overlap in ways that are difficult to predict, making prevention an ongoing challenge. The evolution of technology and the rise of digital communications have added new dimensions to this issue. Online platforms can provide connection and support, but they can also expose individuals to harmful content, reinforce their negative beliefs, and create echo chambers that amplify anger or resentment. The speed and reach of digital communications make it harder to identify and address potential risks before they escalate. And one of the most concerning developments since Columbine is the emergence and persistence of the copycat effect. Some individuals who commit acts of violence have studied previous incidents, drawing inspiration from the attention and notoriety that followed. The phenomenon creates a dangerous cycle where each event has the potential to influence the future behavior of others, making it more difficult to break the pattern. In response to the media organizations and the public institutions which have attempted to change how these events are reported and discussed, efforts have been made to focus more on victims and less on perpetrators, reducing the potential for glorification or imitation. However, in a world where the information is widely accessible, controlling the narrative has become increasingly difficult, and the risks of unintended influence still remains. The challenge lies in a balancing the need for the awareness with the responsibility to avoid contributing to the problem. Transparent reporting is essential for the public's understanding, but it must be handled in a way that minimizes harm. This balance continues to evolve as society navigates the complexities of modern communications. And another critical aspect of prevention involves recognizing and responding to warning signs before the violence occurs. In many cases, individuals who carry out these acts exhibit behaviors or make statements that indicate distress or intent. Identifying these signals has become a priority, leading to the development of threat assessment programs designed to intervene early. Schools and communities have invested in training programs that encourage people to speak up when they notice concerning behavior. Anonymous reporting systems and counseling services and multidisciplinary teams are now more common, providing multiple avenues for intervention. These efforts represent a shift toward a proactive prevention, but they also highlight the challenges of making accurate judgments based on incomplete information. Distinguishing between someone who is struggling and someone who possesses a serious threat is not always straightforward. Acting too late can have devastating consequences, but acting too early can raise ethical and legal concerns about fairness, privacy, and potential misinterpretation. The complexity of prevention and the difficulty of making decisions that carry such high stakes. The broader effort to address school violence reflects a wide range of perspectives and proposed solutions. Some advocate for stricter gun control measures, believing that limiting the access to the weapons can reduce the likelihood of a mass violence, and others emphasize the importance of mental health care, arguing that early intervention and support can address underlying issues before they escalate. Excuse me. Security measures within schools have also continued to evolve, incorporating advanced technology and training to improve response times and to reduce harm. At the same time, there are calls for cultural and societal changes that address deeper issues such as conflict resolution, communications, and community engagement. All of these approaches highlight the need for a comprehensive strategy that considers both multiple factors and rather than relying on a single solution. The reality is that no approaches are guaranteed to eliminate the risk entirely. Human behavior is complex and unpredictable, and even the most well-designed systems have limitations. This uncertainty makes it essential to continue exploring new ideas, refining existing strategies, and remaining open to change. By 2026, the level of preparedness in schools and law enforcement agencies has reached a point that would have been unimaginable in the years before Columbine. Active shooter drills are now a routine part of education, and emergency response protocols have been refined to prioritize speed and coordination. These measures have improved the ability to respond to crises, potentially saving lives when an event when every second counts. However, the preparedness does not address the root causes of the violence, nor does it prevent incidents from occurring in the first place. This distinction is crucial as it highlights the difference between managing risk and eliminating it. While progress has been made in response to capabilities, the challenge of prevention remains largely unresolved. The normalization of these safety measures also raises important questions about their long-term impact. Growing up in an environment where such precautions are necessary can shape how individuals perceive safety, trust, and community. Understanding these effects is an important part of evaluating the broader consequences of living in a society where such measures have become standard. And at the center of the issues are the human stories that often get overshadowed by statistics and policy debates. Each incident represents individuals whose lives were cut short, families who must navigate unimaginable loss, and communities that are forever changed. The anniversary of Columbine serves as a reminder of the realities, encouraging reflection, and not only on the event itself, but on the broader impact of similar tragedies. Remembering the victims is an essential part of honoring their lives and acknowledging the true cost of these events. It shifts the focus away from abstract discussions and toward the real people affected by the violence. This perspective reinforces the importance of continued efforts to prevent future tragedies, even when solutions are difficult to identify. The emotional and psychological impact of these incidents extend far beyond those directly involved, influencing entire communities and shaping national conversation. Also, by addressing these effects requires not only policy changes, but also the support systems that help the individuals and communities heal and move forward. Now, as we reflect on where we stand in 2026, it becomes clear that the search for answers is ongoing and complex. Progress has been made in areas such as emergency response awareness and community engagement, but significant challenges remain. The persistence of those incidents demonstrate that existing measures, while valuable, are not sufficient on their own. The path forward requires a continued collaboration across multiple sectors, including education, law enforcement, and healthcare, and community organizations. It also requires a willingness to confront the difficult questions and consider perspectives that may not align with existing beliefs. This openness is essential for developing solutions that address the full scope of the issue. And ultimately, the question is not just how these tragedies began, but why they continue and what more can be done to change that reality. The answers may never be simple, but the efforts to find it remains one of the most important challenges facing society today. Please make sure to share, and subscribe. And I want to thank you for tuning in to the Unfiltered Political Lens podcast. We will see you in the next episode. Peace.